Introducing. This is from a live game that was played on chess.com. Forgive me if I pronounce the name incorrectly. Abuba Caracash, who's playing the white pieces, versus checkmate 72581, who's playing the black pieces. Time control 30 minutes for each side. The game began. E4, E5, bishop to C4. The bishop's opening. Knight F6, attacking the pawn on E4 is the Berlin defense. And D3. But there are a couple of other main moves that white could have played here. It didn't just have to be D3. It could have been knight to C3, for example. But you will have to examine the move knight to F3, because that knight attacks this pawn here on E5, and it'll become something like a Russian game, so to speak, I guess. But you will have to really look into that and examine the move knight F3. But here, the move that was played was pawn to D3. Bishop C5. Pawn to H3 was played. Perhaps a better move here would have been knight F3. And what black should do is go ahead and complete development. Both sides castle, and then can follow up with D6. Let's take the moves back. If after knight F3, black tries to hop into G4, double attacking the F2 pawn, then white does have a card up his sleeve. Bishop takes F7 check, and if king recaptures knight G5, the knight is held by the bishop on C1, so the queen cannot take the knight. King G8 and queen G4, winning a piece, winning material. But H3 was played to stop the possibility of an invasion on G4. D5 was played. Prophylactic move would be C6 first. And for example, knight F3, then follow up with D5, take, bishop to B3, and then black to follow up with knight C6, and would have 1, 2, 3 pieces developed, plus 2 healthy center pawns. But D5 was played right away. Capture. Now I'm not sure what this move was about. Knight to E2. But here, knight C6. Pawn to A3. Both sides castle short, and knight B6 attacks bishop. Bishop A2, and now queen H4. B4, bishop D6. Pawn F4, EF is a trade. And finally, black develops the other bishop. Capture. And now knight D2. Capture on A2. And knight D4. Now, something I want you to notice is this square here. If black can get a knight there, that knight will be able to fork both the queen and the rook. So the E3 square is a tactical target for black. So taking moves after the capture on a2, the knight hops to d4. Now, I don't think that taking it would be the move to play here. At least there was something else you could have done. Pawn to c4, rook on a to e8, knight e4, and then capture with rook. And white is fine here. Knight f2. So maybe playing a move like c4 instead of capturing the knight. Pawn to c4. And white is fine here. But in the game, white captured the knight on d4, which gave black a tempo move. King steps out of check, now knight d5, and there's that weak e3 square that I was telling you about. Knight f3, good move. Queen b6, and now the threat is still there. So seeing this, white plays the queen to d2, knight e3, rook e1, and rook on a to e8. White played the pawn to c4. Now, what is the intention here? Let's say, now it's black to move, but we're going to imagine that it's white's move. Just so I can show you what white intends to do. White is planning a move such as pawn to c5, and after the capture on c5, then pawn to d4, and this knight is hanging, and the queen cannot swing here over to g5 because white's knight on f3 covers that square. So the queen would probably have to go back here for that. Just something that's just something that I looked at. That's if it was white's move. But after pawn to c4, white plays pawn to c4, and seeing this, black plays the knight to f5, ready to exploit this g3 square here. Knight there with check, exploiting the dark square weaknesses around white's king. This was played, and this was actually a big blunder. The move that should have been played here was rook on a to a1. Again, not to take the rook. That's not the move to play here. Taking the rook on e8 is not the move to play. The move to play here is rook on a to a1. And that way both rooks will be guarding this square. For instance, knight g3 check, king h2, and the f1 square is guarded by both rooks. So the best black would have would be to retreat. Maybe retreat back to h5 with the idea of playing the knight back to f6, and then the knight will go to d7 from there, or something like that. With hit here, this square. But the move that was played in the game, rook takes e8 and knight g3 check, and the game is over. After king h2 in knight f1, and this forks both the king and the queen and the king. And black won by resignation. His opponent resigned the game. Thank you for watching. I appreciate. Make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And you can even share. If you have more videos that you would like me to post with analysis and comments, please send me those recording of your game, and I will be glad to post them on my channel. Spread the word. Thank you for visiting Chess Assassin 3, and you can also visit my original channel, which is Chess Assassin 2813.